If you hear us on your end.
I sure can.
Perfect. All right, guys, we have Coach Phil Snow here to answer questions you guys have for him. Let's start with Joe Person and then go to Josh Graham.
Hey Phil, hope you're doing well.
Hey, Joe.
Wonder what you're seeing out of Nick Foles and how this Bears offense is running, and if it's running any differently with him at the controls rather than Mitch.
Well, you know, Nick is he's played a lot of winning football, so yeah, I mean, you can see, he does a great job of controlling the offense and what they're in. He's real smart. He sees stuff. He can RPO you and do some different things. But he just, good old, he's been around a long time and really a good player. And you can see the offense. He's doing a good job with them.
Hey, Coach, it's kind of understood that a lot of what KK Short does inside doesn't appear on the stat sheet, but without him for the rest of the year, in what area do you think his absence hurts you most?
Well, one is leadership, especially in that room, because we have a lot of young defensive linemen. So that's one huge deal. But, KK will be around, so he'll help with that. But, anytime you lose somebody who's played as much football and been an all-pro, and they do so many different things for you. Like I'll give you an example, just on third down calling games. When you're in a four-man rush, you have pass rush games, and it's based on where the back is and where the center's going. And you love a vet that really understands all that and gets you in the right game. So, I mean, there's a lot of things KK has done and can do for you, but that's just an example.
Let's go to Josh Klein and then Jonathan Alexander.
Hey, Phil. I know that obviously you spent a lot of time with Bravion Roy over the years. I was hoping you could talk a little bit about his growth that you've seen since you first got in contact with him, and then the growth that you've seen since he's actually gotten into the league.
Well, when we first were around Bravion, he's always had ability. He's a big man. And he didn't play as hard as he should have. And he really improved on that the last year and a half at Baylor. And so, as he's come in here, I think, Fair and Frank Ocam have done a real good job with him. You can see him progressing, and he just needs more reps. I think the more reps he gets, the better he's going to get. So, he's doing a nice job. He's real bright, understands the game. So he just needs more reps in competitive situations. And, with KK down, he's going to get some of those reps. So I'm anxious to see how he does.
Hey, Phil, hope you're doing well.
Yep.
I don't know where Brian Burns is with his injury, but if he does have to miss a game, how does that change for you all?
Well, it affects a great deal. We use Brian in a lot of situations, different defenses, like we do use Jeremy Chin. So he does a lot for us. So without Brian, there's a hole in what we do. But, it's next man up, and we'll adapt. And we have some other guys that are coming on. So we'll just utilize their talents.
Let's go to Miles Simmons and then David Newton.
Hey, Phil. Matt Rule said that Zach Kerr is probably in line to start for Quan Short. So what have you seen from him since you've been with him, and how do you feel like he will be able to play in that spot?
Well, Zach is another guy that's played a lot of football. He's been in the league for a while. So, he's got that savvy, and he's been around, and he works, and, he's a pro. So he does have some wiggle inside for a big man. So, he'll get more reps, and I'm anxious to see how he does.
Hey, Coach, you mentioned Burns and what you got to do there, and KK being out. So what's the challenge for you as far as trying to create pressure if you're without those two?
Yeah, we've got to be creative if we're without them. And we have different packages that we can do that, and we're preparing for that. But this league is, you're going to have injuries, right? So, it's the next man up, and you got to be multiple enough to handle the injuries. And, we have a plan if we don't have Brian and we lose another D lineman. So, but I think everybody has the same problems, especially as the year goes on. your numbers get thinner and thinner.
Let's go to Joe Person and then Skylar Callahan.
Phil, Matt was saying yesterday you guys are sort of rethinking how you guys defend the crack tosses. Wonder if you could kind of walk us through that and kind of what makes that play. What's the key to defending those plays?
Well, the biggest issue is, and I've said this for a lot of years and nobody was doing it, so I was happy about that, but these tight formations that the offense are lining up in have really created a lot of problems, and they've now put the onus on the corners to make a lot of plays in the run game. When the wide receivers lined up wider and they cracked the safeties, we could be in different defenses where the safety was closer to the ball and they couldn't crack them, so we didn't have to worry about it. And we could control that. Well, with the tight formations, we can't control that anymore. And so the corners have to be involved in the run game. And if you look across the league, you'll see that the tosses and some of the perimeter plays are really hard to defend. And it's based because of the formation. And when you get in an 8-man front, there's one guy they can't block. Well, the guy they're putting the onus on is the corner on the tailback. And so it's creating a lot of problems for all of us.
Hey, Phil, kind of going back to David's question a little bit in terms of pressure. Chicago, I believe, is 27th in the league in yards per attempt. And with that situation, and I know you like to usually drop 7-8 guys, does that maybe change your philosophy this week and maybe trying to get more pressure because you know that they're not going to take as many shots down the field?
Yeah, but you know what? Foles is smart now. He knows you're doing that, he'll take his shots. And he has some receivers that can get downfield. Graham can still beat you downfield, and they've got a good receiving crew. So I think you got to be smart. The statistics say that they don't throw the ball downfield in certain situations, but when he needs to, he does, and he makes big plays with them. So we just got to be smart. We'll mix it up, and I think it's really important. We are who we are. And play to those strengths. So, and that'll depend on what they're doing.
Go to Elena Getzenberg and then Jason Huber.
Hey, Phil. I was curious, Tahir Whitehead's kind of up and down kind of through the first 5 games. I was wondering what your assessment of him has been so far and anything you feel like he's done well or needs to work on.
Yeah, no, Tahir is, he's another guy that's a vet. He's been around a long time, understands the game, and keeps it's amazing how, he keeps his body, he's pretty fresh and, we're going in the 6th game. So, but he's doing a lot of good things. And, maybe he hadn't had the opportunity to make some plays that he wanted, but I think he's doing fine. So, I'm looking forward to watching him play this Sunday.
Hey, Phil, going back to Zach Kerr, he was one of the first, defensive guys you did sign in free agency this year. What did you guys see from him? Someone who hadn't really had a very notable career, but what did you see from him to want to sign him? And also in those 2 games that he did start this year with KK out, what did you see from him?
Well, what we saw, he has some movement and quickness inside. And so, in the tackle position, you like, a big guy and then a more movement guy. So we saw some good movement inside, and I think he's shown that, he's hit the quarterback 3 or 4 times for us this year. And so, it's the same thing we saw on tape.
All right, let's go to Jonathan Alexander and then Phil Orban.
Hey, Phil. I understand you have a super competitive family. I was told that, I guess if y'all are playing ping pong and your sister was losing, she'd fight everybody. What's the benefit of having a competitive family like that?
Well, there's a lot of benefit, but by the way, my sister, her son is Dustin Pedroia. So the baseball player with the Red Sox, and he was really competitive, right? So he gets that from mama. But our whole family, we probably have like 10 nieces and cousins and brothers and stuff that have played college sports. So when we all get together, it's pretty competitive. And I'm one of the worst male athletes in the family. So I've quit playing. They beat the heck out of me. So, but yeah, we have a lot of fun.
Phil, you just said being multiple enough will help mitigate some of these injury concerns, and we knew that was so important to you kind of from the first time we talked to you. But when and how did you realize the value of position versatility on defense, and that things are kind of more complicated than, D-line, linebackers, secondary?
Well, I've been doing this a long time. This is my 44th year coaching. So, one of the things in football, and it's unfortunate, but we've always had injuries. And how you deal with injuries really dictates how you play through the season. You can whine about them and make them a big deal, but we just say next man's up. And I think, the NFL players understand that there's injuries. And so you've got to be multiple enough to withstand them. And, hopefully we are. And now we can't continue to get injured, but, I think we're in a good place right now.
All right, guys, we have time for one more, so let's go to Skyline for the last question.
Hey, Phil, I know after the Tampa Bay loss, Rasul talked about the team needing to get more chemistry and wanting to play for one another. And since that meeting happened, you guys rattled off 3 straight wins, and it seems like everyone's playing with an extra edge and playing more together. Is that something that you've seen from your perspective?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I think this team is growing together right now. And, you got to have some success, too, to have that happen. And so we're fortunate we've won 3 games in a row. But you can really see this group coming together on both sides of the football and special teams. So, it's fun to watch. When you get a little confidence with everybody, it doesn't matter who you are. The confidence grows, so does everything else. So, it's been fun to watch over the last month.
All right, Coach, we appreciate you stopping by.